from WFAA Sports, this is Dale Hansen's Sports Special. Brought to you by your North Texas Buick dealers.
Zeke, 21. Get your ass out here on the field. What are you doing up there in the stand?
I want to be here with our team.
I'm going to hoist this the way you do that Lombardi trophy when you win the Super Bowl. Help me there.
Is there anybody here that's complaining because we're having this camp here at Oxnard? Please raise your hand.
The Cowboys are back in California, and if they are, we are. I'm raising my hand, incidentally, because I forgot to pack a sweater, and it's 64 degrees. I forgot how chilly it is in California this time of year. I'm Dale Hansen, and we do thank you for being with us tonight. We thought we'd try something a little bit different tonight. Dale Hansen on Dale Hansen Sports Special. It's been a while. It's been a while since the Cowboys have been in California for a training camp, too. But it does give me a chance to talk to the owner again, and it's one of my favorite parts about every training camp. Although, keep in mind, when we talked to Cowboys owner Jerry Jones tonight, the lovely Mrs. Hansen, the last thing she said to me when I left Texas, "You better be nice to Jerry Sunday night." So my hands are tied a bit, but here we go. We've talked about this a lot over the years, but give me one good reason, two if you can, about why this year's team is going to be any better or any different than the last 25.
Well, I really believe our training camp can make a difference. I know it does for our fan involvement. I know it does, but the fact that you and I are sitting here from training camp doing it. But I believe it does for our team. I was sick when we didn't get to have training camp. I was sick when we didn't get to have preseason games. Because the team needs the crescendo. The team needs the build-up. One of the things that this does this year is kind of lets the Cowboys say 25, 26, 27 other teams may be at home. We're at camp. We're business as usual.
Well, your energy and your enthusiasm for all of this does seem to be back compared to last year. But Joe Avazano, one of your former coaches, used to say to me all the time, defending you, that you're the most positive guy, the most enthusiastic guy, the most supportive in every respect. How do you do that?
Well, I got a little philosophical. I was looking for you on a press day we had our press conference, and it's ready for you too. But a lot of people, I hear reports back when we first get acquainted. They say, well, he's naive. He's actually naive. I can't believe he's that naive. Well, it's a beautiful life to be naive. I don't want to be skeptical. I really want what you're saying to be something that way. Consequently, I have gone down a lot of dead ends. But it's a more fun life to be naive. You can have bigger train wrecks, but you can also have some things that nobody thought could work or could make sense of, and all of a sudden you've got the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody in Texas looked at buying the Dallas Cowboys before I did. And nobody, as a matter of fact, President Trump said, I feel sorry for that, whoever bought the Cowboys.
You said this the other day at that press conference you mentioned.
I would right now, if I could, and I knew had a good chance to do it, I'd do anything known to man to get in a Super Bowl. That's a fact.
But it's not a fact. That's not true. Would you hire a general manager and let him make all the football decisions?
Yes, if I knew for sure he'd win a Super Bowl.
You really would?
Well, if I knew for sure he'd win a Super Bowl yesterday. The facts are we know that only God knows who can win the Super Bowl and who won't, and we know how many other parts have to come together. My thoughts have always been, I'll have people around me that are as close to being competent, have Super Bowl type ideas that can get you to that. I'll have them and I listen, and I have listened all the time. But I don't want to create some fake point. At the end of the day, since I have to write the check, then I've always made the decision at the end of the day. Does that mean that I have made a decision in spite of what the people that I think are smart advise me to do? No, not at all. Jimmy and I have always been a subject of, well, who did this? Who made the decision? Who made that? Well, I had to agree to do it. I had to write the check. But I certainly listened to him.
Yeah,
Jimmy
but
Johnson.
You're talking about Jimmy Johnson that you replaced with Barry Switzer.
Yes.
Hold on just a second. Give me this. Every time I mention Switzer, I want to be careful here just in case you start challenging. Yeah, I thought, get back in your chair. Get back in your chair. But my real question was, and actually this does help my arm, by the way. Would a football general manager have hired Barry Switzer? Wasn't that the worst mistake you've ever made?
Well, first of all, Switzer had the best finger punch of anybody that I've ever had in coaching.
I remember.
And he could put.
I remember. Yeah.
He could put it out there good.
You won't do it now again, right?
I promise I won't do it
good.
again.
I'm done with that.
But my college coach, the great Frank Broyles, told me one time, Jerry, I have recruited 2 genius IQs, and Jones, you're not one of them. But he said Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson are my 2 genius recruits.
Yeah.
The commissioner asked me one time to head a committee to come up with ways to coach owners how to hire coaches, because we had enjoyed success early. And I said, Commissioner Tagliabue, I need to be in the audience. I don't need to be chairing the committee, because I've run out of teammates. I don't know where to go from here on hiring coaches. And those were the criteria.
The Jimmy Johnson hire was brilliant, and I will say that your professor or your coach, whoever told you that, was half right.
Well, okay.
I think what was the bigger mistake, hiring Barry Switzer though, or firing me from the radio broadcast?
Well, let me say this. It's kind of like some other things. I don't remember. Dale, who really gives a about that? What is that?
Nobody I know.
Is this of consequence?
Can we at
is
least
this of
verify one
consequence?
thing for the Barry Horns of the world of the Dallas Morning News? Is it not true that I quit the radio broadcast the day before you fired me?
Well,
will you at least confirm that for me now?
Okay, well, let me say this, not straight on. The great Ron Chapman called me, who was actually technically your boss, and told me, I understand he's quitting. Nobody's quitting me. I'm going to fire him before he gets a chance to communicate with me at that particular time.
We've got more with Jerry right after this. When you're doing your final interview with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, you're not going to be able to do it in just one segment. The interviews were supposed to last between 5 and 6 minutes, and we were hoping that it would. But when you wind Jerry up, he tends to talk a bit, and we all know that I do. So here's part 2 with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Before I end up with another goofy little bit that I've been practicing all week long, I do have to delve into that rather serious issue about COVID-19 and how the NFL and the Cowboys are trying to handle it. How do you think that it's okay to tell a player that he has to stand at attention and toe the line for the national anthem, but it's not okay for you to tell those same players that they have to take the vaccination shot against COVID-19?
Well, since we operate with the players as a union, then you make agreements, the traditional union agreement, that could involve any employees.
So you're more concerned about the union than the Constitution?
No, the union agreement does not let us say to players, you have to take the COVID. It does not let us do that.
I know, but I'm saying it again. That bothers you and scares you off more than the Constitution itself?
Well, no. What it does do is say that if somebody does something that is not in the best interest of the team, then they just end up not playing. That doesn't mean that they don't get paid because of the collective bargain agreement.
Do you think there is the potential that the argument surrounding the vaccine could divide a football team, much like the argument has managed to divide America?
I think that the exception is a Dak Prescott, Jason Witten, if you will. They are in the weeds. They understand the meaning of relying on each other. And if we're nothing if we're not a team. And so we want to do what's in the best interest of the team. That means you have to sometimes sacrifice what's in your best interest. And it's in the best interest of the team not to have to forfeit the game when another team comes to town and you have to forfeit the game. By the way, you don't get paid. And not only that, you lose a chance for a championship, which could be like getting barred from the Olympics, and you may never see another one the rest of your life.
Do you really think, though, that these protocols that the NFL is instituting and that the Cowboys are following here in Oxnard, are they really doing anything, or are you just trying to kind of pay lip service to give the image that you're doing something?
No, they're physically effective and successful. Last year we had protocol in the stadium. We had 30,000 people per game in the stadium. 22% of all of the attendance in the NFL was at Cowboy Stadium. We had distance, we had seating, we did everything to a protocol. I don't know of one case contacted in the entire year. 250,000 people came out there at 30,000 a game. I know of not one case that came about because of coming to those games.
Hand me this. Before I let you go, I want to finish up with this. I put together a couple of notes here on what's happened since you last won a Super Bowl in '96. Nicolas Cage won the Oscar that year. He hasn't won anything since then either, by the way. You've had 7 coaches, while we've had 7 presidents since you last won a Super Bowl. I don't think there's a Jimmy Johnson in the entire bunch, is there?
Well, I'm not sure
either one of those helps us out.
Well, I just happen to have a list here that's got a couple of things on it. Real good. And do you know what's happened since your company's stock, since you decided to retire? It's gone up 50%. People have bought it 50%. On that
It may well. But here's the thing. Bottom line is I'm retiring September 2nd. And as you could probably imagine, quite a few people are happy about the fact that I'm leaving. How about you going with me? We'll make everybody happy.
Well, Dale, I was always holding out. I knew you had to be the first to go. I knew that for sure. But Dale, seriously, I want to say this about a guy with a big heart. And we have appreciated you. I have appreciated you in the 30-some odd years that I've been involved. You've been really a great asset, You were always a fraud. And I say that lovingly. Because I know many of your things you've done behind the scene. What I remember the most is what a great son you are. And I know you called me. My daddy's real sick. Yeah. Is there any way we could arrange a visit and talk? We talked, and you went up my eyes about twofold, thinking, now, that's a son. Wanting his dad to have some last-minute action with it. But thank you.
I'll say it back at you, and I'm going to say a few things before the week is over about how much I've enjoyed it. This is absolutely my favorite part of every training camp I've been to for the last 40 years, but certainly since you bought the football team, is the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. It really is. I appreciate it very much.
Well, let me say this. I did not fire you. You quit.
Thank you for that. I knew I was right about that. Well, I'm glad we at least cleared that up. I am going to talk a little bit more about Jerry Jones before we are headed back to Texas. But this is what the Cowboys fan is actually dealing with now. This is the reality. When the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl in '96, their number 1 quarterback now was doing number 2 in his pants. Dak Prescott was in diapers. And the way things have been going for the last 25 years, before they win another Super Bowl, Jerry and I might be in diapers.